focusing on those who felt shut out of politics and rarely cast a ballot. In remarks at a Generation Next summit in March 2018, Charlie Kirk asked President Trump a question.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president.
Kirk died doing what made him a potent political force, rallying conservatives on a college campus, this time Utah Valley University. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Have you ever wondered why some people seem to experience God's favor in extraordinary ways? There's a secret hiding in plain sight through Scripture. God has designed a pathway to blessing that runs directly through our relationship with Israel. Look, it's not complicated. It's not mysterious. It's actually beautifully simple. A promise found in Genesis 12. God said, "I will bless those who bless you." This holy equation has been working for 4,000 years. From Abraham's time to today, God rewards those who align their hearts with his heart for Israel. It's like stepping into a river of blessing that's been flowing since the beginning. When I support the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, look, I'm plugging into God's ancient blessing system. I'm choosing to flow with his plan instead of against it. The results speak for themselves. Lives transformed, families
experts when you need us. Poll question of the week brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance. Call Larry, 803-799-1998 for all your insurance needs. Don't forget about his new location in Lexington on Sunset Drive. That is located near the Mellow Mushroom, 5370 Sunset, behind the Mellow Mushroom. For those of you in that part of the Midlands, South Carolina 16 straight over Vandy, 6.5-point favorite. Based on the first two games, what's your confidence level for 17 in a row? 55.2% confident but worried. 27.6% mark it down. 17.2% streak ends Saturday. Put me in the mark it down category, Bergie. I think they win.
I think they do too, but I'm leaning towards picking Vanderbilt with the points. I think this is going to be a lot closer.
Not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. I think the Gamecocks come up with a really good game plan for Pavia, find a way to not let him. I mean, they did a good job against him last year. No reason they can't come out and do a good job against him this year. Of course, they were maybe better up front. We'll see. But I think defensive end-wise, they're still very good. Maybe not quite as good with the loss of Kennard. Linebackers, I think they're pretty much equal to where they were last year. Maybe not quite as deep, but certainly the first two or three going out there are pretty good. Now, we got to see who's healthy in that secondary tonight. A little bit after 8 o'clock, they'll have the first release of the injury report, the availability report from the SEC. And also Clemson and the ACC, they have to have an availability report. Is theirs start tonight or tomorrow night for the ACC?
I thought it started on Wednesday. I thought it started for both of them on Wednesday. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But
will.
Dabo's going to speak here shortly, too, so we'll hear from him as well.
Okay, we'll put that out there as soon as that comes down. Couple of quick notes, then we'll get to your phone calls. Clemson basketball going to be in the Maui Invitational. Man, I think I'll cover Clemson basketball next year.
I think I would too, no doubt.
Arizona, BYU, Clemson, Colorado State, Ole Miss, Providence, VCU, and Washington. It's a good field. Mm-hmm. Clemson and Louisville, November 14th, half hour earlier. Moved from 8 o'clock to 7:30. Former Gamecock Jadeveon Clowney was in Dallas today meeting with the Cowboys. How about that? If he ends up there, be a heck of a pickup if he's still got anything left in the tank. Mm-hmm. Does he still have anything left in the tank? That will be the question wherever he ends up, if he does end up somewhere else. South Carolina women finished 6th at the Annika Intercollegiate today. South Carolina women finished up at +8. Had an even par round today. And so they finished in 6th place. The winner was Wake Forest, which came in at 8 under, so they were 16 shots back. However, looks like we have a winner in Elia Galitsky, and I guess she shares the honors. I was told, the South Carolina men finished 2nd in that Gopher Invitational, whatever they call it up in Minnesota. Frankie Harris was actually – he's a champion, but he's a co-champion because they was tied, so I guess they don't break the ties. They make them co-champions. Elia Galitsky finished tied for the championship with Chloe Gavelski from Wake Forest, 9 under. She had rounds of 5 under, 2 under, and 2 under. So she gets part of that individual title or the individual title as a co-champion. So they got another great one on the South Carolina women's team in Galitsky, no question about it, after losing 2 great ones from last year's team. But not exactly the team finish that they were looking for, coming in 6th place there.
And Phil, back to the ACC situation, they only have to come out the day before and then 2 hours before kickoff. So Clemson will not have to release one until Friday. And then again, 2 hours, I guess, at 10. So they basically be almost back-to-back since they've got the early kick time. But that's the rule there. That's why you saw today Wake Forest and NC State send out a injury report because they play tomorrow night.
I wonder why the SEC makes you put out so many.
It would lead you to believe that there's more gambling on SEC football than there is on ACC football.
You think that's what that's about, huh?
I guarantee that's what that's about.
Okay. Well, if you lie, you get heavily fined. You can't lie, supposedly.
Right.
But, Shane Beamer said at his press conference. He said it on Sunday. He said it again at his press conference. I think his words were something along the lines of he feels confident about most of those guys who've been hurt returning. Mm-hmm. When he says that, typically, I'm not saying that's always the case. When he says that, typically, a lot of the people who are hurt don't play the next game. It doesn't turn into reality that these guys get healthy and able to play. Let's wait and see what happens. I've seen it before when he's talked about guys he thinks guys are going to be able to play, and we don't see him in the next game.
Mm-hmm. They definitely need Judge Collier back. You talked about the secondary.
And Kilgore.
Yeah, those would be big helps in gear for that matter. I mean, some of the frontline guys that they've got injured, they could use them this weekend for sure.
All right, to the phones we go. Had a little bit of a stream issue, I understand, but the plumbers got that worked out, so we're good to go on our various streams on YouTube and on X and on Facebook. We go to Ray and Elgin. First up tonight here on Sports Talk. Ray, welcome in. How you doing?
Doing good, Phil. Doing really good. I tell you, if it wasn't for the Carolina game this Saturday against Vanderbilt, I think I would head to Conway there and watch Coastal. Something about Coastal and East Carolina, that gets my blood boiling. You know, something about it being there at Coastal. I would love to be part of that. I think that sounds like a lot of fun.
Why are you hating on East Carolina?
Huh?
Why are you hating on East Carolina? What
I don't know.
What makes East Carolina?
Because I like Coastal.
Are you more of a Coastal fan than anybody else?
Other than South Carolina, of course, you know. Yeah. But yeah, and my dad lives down in Murrells Inlet, so when I go see him, I go right by their stadium and that brand new practice facility indoors. It looks unbelievable, nice, you know.
I agree.
I'm thinking, you know, it'd be fun to take in a game there, you know. But eventually I'm going to do that, Phil. But anyway, what I was calling about, talking about the Gamecocks, I remember it was this summer, and Phil, it might have been your show. I don't know. The question was, on the Gamecocks team, who do you feel like has the most pressure? And I called in and said, without a doubt, in my opinion, it's Mike Shula.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, he has an all-world athletic quarterback who can make plays like nobody else, has a 6'5" wide receiver with not just world-class speed, but Olympic speed. And we saw, you know, that bowl game, it didn't go so good. It was almost as if Shula took Norrisa's legs out of play by probably telling him not to run out of the pocket as much or something. I don't know, but that's his game. But I think 3 games in with Shula, I'm just not impressed, guys. And what really concerns me is I don't feel like that Shane's been able to get us a good quality offensive coordinator since he's been there. And I mean, we won on, you know, our special teams have been great, and I don't use that word loosely either. Our defense has been good to solid, you know, really good. But the offensive play, I mean, we had our moments last year, but with Shula and with, you know, some of these coordinators we've had, I'm very concerned about the offensive game plan we have. I mean, we can't run the ball, so we've got to pass on first down. We got to change it up somehow. But man, it's been hard to watch. Phil, were you at Williams-Brice Saturday night?
I was not. I was at Clemson.
Okay, you were at Clemson. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can tell you, and people said they even heard it on TV, the Boo Birds were out.
Well, they must have flown down from Clemson.
Huh?
They must have flown down from Clemson. They must have ridden that storm because they were out at Clemson in the first half. Yeah,
I'll tell you, I have not heard Boo Birds like that in a game with the team, you know, the division of South Carolina State. I don't think I've ever heard that in the stadium. Now I've heard it for, you know, big time schools that, you know, are beating us, but you know, I'll give SC State a lot of credit. You know, I feel like if you call it a battle royal on the inside of the line of scrimmage, they won. We just had more athletes and made more plays. But,
you know what surprises me?
We got a lot of work to do on the offensive side, whether it's with the line of play, the play calling. We got to get with North in a flow, and I just don't know if Mike Shula can do that.
All right, thank you very much. We'll know a lot more coming up after this weekend. One thing surprises me about their stats to this point, I'll tell you at the break.
On Point Weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfortable this evening with a low temperature dropping to 59. Tomorrow and really the rest of the week, very, very nice, but we'll have mostly sunshine-filled skies all day to go with a high temperature of 86. We'll be in the mid-80s as our high temperatures for the rest of this week. We'll little bit warmer next week. There's no rain coming anytime soon to the Midlands. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
We're taking the afternoon drive back on the road to Lexington. Thursday the 11th from 4 to 6 p.m. We'll be live from the Village at South Lake. It's an absolutely beautiful independent living community rated the best in Lexington. It's a great day for you to stop by and see us. We'll have refreshments for you, swag to give away. If you're thinking about independent living, this is the time to come visit. 4 to 6 Thursday the 11th at the Village at South Lake, 123 Gibson Road in Lexington. Hope to see you there.
From Colorado. This is an SRN News special report. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Charlie Kirk, who rose from a teenage conservative campus activist to a top Salem talk show host, culture warrior, and ally of President Trump, was shot and killed Wednesday during one of his trademark public appearances at a college in Utah. He was 31 years old. FBI Director Kash Patel says a suspect in the shooting is now in custody. Kirk died doing what made him a potent political force, rallying conservatives on a college campus, this time Utah Valley University. The event was kicking off a planned series of Kirk college appearances from Colorado to Virginia dubbed the American Comeback Tour. His shooting was one of an escalating number of attacks on political figures. This has been an SRN News special report. I'm Keith Peters.
Sometimes timing is everything, and I've been talking the talk about Broker Solar for a good minute. I'm a fan. I've had some Point listeners ask me about Broker Solar. They're on the fence because of what's going on in D.C. Now that the politics have settled, we know what's in that big, beautiful bill. We know the federal tax credit for getting solar power at your home. It's going to end in December, so the clock is ticking. You want that 30% federal tax credit, believe me. So we need to get Ken out to your place before they cut it. Plus, you'll still get a 25% tax credit here in South Carolina. So yeah, timing is everything. 30% federal, 25% state credit. Are you kidding me? That's a big part of the cost already knocked out for solar power. It's time for you to take control of your own power bill. Like I said, timing's everything. Now is the time. Online, it's brokersolar.com, or just call Ken and his team, 807-7417. That's 807-7417, brokersolar.com.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing the Wing and a Prayer Wednesday special. Purchase an order of wings and a drink and get a free gift card for the arcade. We have some of the most mouth-watering jumbo wings like flamethrower hot wings, barbecue wings, teriyaki wings, honey mustard wings, terry hot wings. You can get a half dozen for $9.95 or a dozen for $18.95. Served with celery and choice of dressing. So come join us at Flight Deck Restaurant to enjoy some great jumbo wings and lots of fun in our new and improved arcade. And we at Flight Deck Restaurant thank y'all, and God bless.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Sweet from Sweet Comfort Services HVAC. We're locally owned and operated, which really helps keep pricing reasonable. With lower overhead and more accountability, we stand by the systems we install, our repairs, and our parts. Most nationally owned companies know they have plenty of work this time of year when it's really hot. We'll treat you great no matter what time of year it is. Call Sweet Comfort Services HVAC at 803-331-8143. That's 803-331-8143.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network on this Wednesday night. Phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to dial us up and hit us up here on Sports Talk. Our text message line brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance. That number is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. Feel free to drop us a text or give us a phone call if you feel motivated to do so. Text message in here from the 843. Did the Panthers trade for Shedeur Sanders? And if they do, what would you think about it? Tepper, no matter all he says, for staying out of decisions, made he still probably involved, or maybe still probably involved. Okay, that hasn't happened, number one.
No.
Number two, I mean, I don't know that you help yourself by doing that. Shedeur Sanders hasn't proven anything on the NFL level. They couldn't win the job with the Browns, and, I mean, he's got a couple of guys ahead of him. He's no better than third string with the Browns right now. I think he's third string. So I don't know that you help yourself with that. You just have to hope that Bryce Young and that offense eventually figure it out. He certainly did not show it in the preseason. Of course, the regulars didn't play much in the preseason, and they got stifled in their opening game. So, I mean, I don't know. They got a coach who's supposed to be a quarterback guru and an offensive-minded guy. And, you know, they've loaded up at wide receiver. McMillan in the draft is an excellent pick. Leggett is an excellent receiver, of course. They can't get the running game going. They got a really good running back in Hubbard. So I don't know. I mean, I don't pay attention to them that much because I don't have to, because they're a non-factor in our world. And I'm, of course, focused on the big green machine. So, but you're a Panthers fan, Bergie. What's the deal?
Well, first off, to the texter's question, there was evidently a headline that said Shedeur Sanders is traded to the Carolina Panthers. According to Yahoo Sports, that is not true. So, no, to answer his question, the Panthers have not traded for Shedeur Sanders. And, I'm like you, Phil. I don't think that's an upgrade at all, unless you're getting massive draft picks to send Bryce Young to Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's got their own issues. I don't know why you'd want to deal with them. And you talked about having a quarterback guru as a head coach. They had one. They had Frank Reich in there, and he didn't want Bryce Young. That was a David Tepper. From what we understand, that was a David Tepper decision. He wanted Bryce Young. He was infatuated with Bryce Young, wanted him at quarterback. I think Frank Reich wanted to go in another direction, and so Frank Reich's no longer the head coach there. So, I mean, you've got an owner who's not nearly as successful that is playing Jerry Jones in Charlotte and trying to meddle too much. And everything he has touched, I mean, during his business life, everything he touched went to gold. He had the Midas touch there. Everything he's touched with the Panthers has gone, you know where. I mean, from the road to nowhere in Rock Hill to the team itself. I mean, they're just it's tough to be a Panthers fan. Tough to be a Panthers fan because you just have no hope with them.
Well, think about all the rich people. Now, listen, there's been a lot of – then again, let me say this. You got a lot of rich owners in sports who were not all that rich. I mean, they were rich. You had to be rich to be an owner, right?
No doubt.
They were not all that rich, but they got rich by owning their teams and developing good organizations and winning teams, and the value of their teams skyrocketed. Then you got a lot of people who were already rich as heck and bought teams, and they've done nothing but mess up their teams. Now, Jerry Jones is sort of a mixed bag. Obviously, he was pretty wealthy when he bought the Cowboys, and he had a good organization. And then when Jimmy Johnson, when they had their falling out, he did bring in Barry Switzer, and they had some success under Barry Switzer. But since then –
won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. But since then, since he made himself the general manager, I can't remember who the GM was during those years. Was it Gil Brandt? Was it Gil Brandt? Was he still there?
He may have been. Yeah.
But anyway, whenever that office was cleaned out and he stepped in, I mean, and believe me, you get no tears from me. I love to see it. You know, the more the Cowboys lose, the better for America. So
Tex Schramm, actually.
Tex Schramm, yeah. So, I mean, But then again, the value of the Cowboys has skyrocketed, so he's made himself richer. But my point is, look around, look at the Panthers, for example. Also, look at the Redskins. They had a very rich guy buy the Redskins and totally destroy that organization. That's just two. Look at the I'm trying to think who else is a good example. Maybe the jury's still out on the Clippers with their owner out there. He's fabulously wealthy. They've been maybe a little above average, maybe average. Of course, now they got their own arena. They're trying to do their own thing separate from the Lakers, but they'll always be the second show in L.A. when it comes to the NBA. So you can see all around these various leagues where really rich people take over teams and mess up the organizations. They think they're going to be successful right off the bat simply because they've been uber successful in the business world, and sometimes it doesn't transfer. It's not the same deal. So anyway, that is the story there. Thank you for the question about that. Phone number 888-898-2525 is our phone number. Speaking of offenses, South Carolina, of course, has been struggling here the first two times out. I was going to mention the stat that really astonished me when I was looking at some numbers. Do you realize, Bergie, that the leading receiver on the team so far for South Carolina after 2 games has a grand total of 4 catches? I mean, I know it's only 2 games, but like Harper's got 3. Jacobs is the leading receiver. Jacobs has 4, and among the receivers, among pure receivers, he is the leading pass catcher so far with 4. I think he's tied overall with somebody. Let me pull up my stats here. He is tied with receiving, Brady Hunt. Brady Hunt's got 4, so a tight end. Among the wideouts, Jacobs has got 4. Harper's got 3. Murph has got 3. It's been spread around a little bit, but nobody's really emerged. I mean, Harper had that decent first game against Virginia Tech, had the big long touchdown catch. I think he had 1 catch against South Carolina State. Now, the point is they got to get the ball to some of these people. Mazeo Bennett's got 2 catches. He's got to get the ball in his hands more. He's got to get the ball in his hands more. So they got some issues to deal with there. Shula met with the media today in Columbia. All the coordinators met with the media today in Columbia to talk about their various groups, and thought it'd be interesting to hear from him as he took some direct questions about the way the offense has been performing and what he thinks they can do to make them perform better, especially going into this game against Vanderbilt.
After 2 weeks, what do you think is the biggest issue toward getting the run game on track to where it needs to be?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a little bit with everything. Just got to be more consistent, continue working on being on the same page, and that's not just communicating, but all the little things that you do in the run game with offensive linemen on double teams, when to come off onto a backer, the quickness of reacting to certain things. So our guys are working really hard. They're doing a good job, and we're getting better. We're not quite where we want to be, but all that ties into it's not just the run game. It just ties into doing things that keep us on the field. We got to get on the field more, stay on the field, and make first downs and give ourselves some opportunities.
With pre-snap penalties, could you give us an idea of how frustrating those can be just in the moment when they're kind of setting you back like that?
Yeah, I mean it's hard, and the guys are. I mean we got to be focused, all that kind of stuff. We got to do a really good job there, and they are focused. They practice hard in that way, and it's unfortunate you can't do it. You got to keep your poise. You got to stay, keep your concentration, stay locked in, and the pre-snap ones are the things that you can control, and you can't do that on offense. You don't want to have any, but keep them down because those are negative plays, and end up have to overcome those.
Mike, seeing what Vakari Swain has done on punt return, is there any part of you, knowing that he's played offense in the past, that you maybe want him out there on your side of the ball? And have there been any discussions maybe about that potentially?
I've been teasing him since I first got here, watching him, and he's got great ball skills. It's really cool to watch. Offensively, we're getting ready to go out there on the field to go try to do our thing and make first downs and go score, and then all of a sudden you see the ball get returned for a touchdown, and he's really, just this is as an outsider, so to speak, because I coach on offense, but just kind of watching him and watching his maturity and his development since I've been here, and to see his hard work pay off has been pretty cool. He's very talented, and like you said, he's got some skills that you could use on offense. But no, defense loves him, and we're happy that he's playing where he is and on defense and special teams.
Yesterday, Boaz was in here talking about communication was being worked on a lot with the offensive line. In your eyes, what makes a good offensive line in today's college game?
Okay, yeah, well, communication's one. I mean, there's as we've all heard over the years, yes, communication and talent and toughness and the ability to finish on every play, make adjustments. And I think as we all know, there's the offensive line. A lot of times the only time their name comes up is when negative things happen. And yet, so we as coaches, I think, as fans and stuff like that, sometimes overlook. Not sometimes, we do overlook a lot of the good things that's going on, and we see it every day in practice. And today was another good example of guys that are just really working hard, and we just got to continue to work hard and have that happen on game day more than we've had happen.
Hey, Coach, it was reported this week that Lenoris came to you and asked for more quarterback run calls for him, maybe up to 15 a game. Have you guys talked directly about that? Is that something that will be happening?
Yeah, we talk a lot every week about what his job is and how we do it and how we're going to best win games.
How would you evaluate through 2 games how Lenoris is going through his progressions?
Well, yeah, it's just like a little bit like all of us, just continue to get better. It's not perfect. Perfect game is still out there. And he's like a lot of the other guys that we just, left the practice field, just working hard to get better and dialing in on the things that, he needs to continue to improve on. We talked in the past about quarterback play and making sure the communication there is great, and you're looking at the right things, knowing what to look for, and then reacting accordingly.
Vanderbilt seemed to be pretty blitz happy against Virginia Tech, and they were creating a lot of havoc last Saturday night. How do you kind of prepare your offensive line, your offense for that type of aggressive defense?
Yeah, they do a really good job in a lot of areas. When they're blitzing, they're really good blitzers. They do a good job of showing blitz and then faking the blitz. They do a good job of whether or not it's bringing a bunch of blitzers or just bringing one. And in football and in college football, it's there's a lot of ways you can blitz and play zone behind it. We've all heard the term fire zone and all that kind of stuff. So they do a good job with that, and then blitz and play man. But even more so than that, they're well coached, and they fly to the ball, and they're very disciplined, so they don't make a lot of mistakes. So you're gonna have to earn everything you get on Saturday night.
Following up on the Lenoris processing stuff, how much of it is him just trusting what he's seeing and letting rip?
I think it's again it's offensive football, so it's collectively of each guy doing their job, being our offensive line, as we've been talking about them. Yeah, let's do a good job making sure, with protection, receivers. Let's get to the spot where we need to be at. Let's make the right adjustment. Lenoris, make sure we see the right adjustment. Running backs, let's make sure we're in the right spot or we're helping out with protection. Tight ends, same thing there. Whether or not we're running routes or protecting or run blocking, and it all ties together. So it's yes, the quarterback is the one that gets the most questions asked about and has the ball in his hands as we all know, for good reason. But he's continued to improve in that way, and the other guys have too. And again, we just got to kind of pull it all in together and and stay on the field. Get some first downs going and get some rhythm, and better than we've done.
All right, there you go, Mike Shula talking about his offense. We'll see what the Gamecocks can do with this Vanderbilt team. Vanderbilt opened the season 45-3 over Charleston Southern, and then, they weren't all that good for a half against Virginia Tech. They were down at halftime, 20-10, and then scored 34 points. They were kind of like the Detroit Tigers against the Yankees in the 7th inning last night. Just couldn't stop them. Well, they just couldn't stop Vanderbilt. They couldn't stop Vanderbilt in the second half.
Yeah, when I was doing my research on that Babe Ruth guy you brought up last night, I found out he was a pitcher too. So maybe you could have used him in the 7th inning last night. But I was impressed with the question you asked Mike Shula, and I guess he basically confirmed what we had heard without confirming it. Right? That was a non-denial denial.
Well, I mean,
non-confirmation confirmation.
It was Tony Morrell, the big Spur, who wrote, citing a source, that Sellers had gone to him and said, man, I want to run the football, 15 times a game. So he didn't address really – he kind of chuckled underneath the question if you were listening closely, because then he obviously kind of knew that, that probably happened. He didn't get into specifics.
Right.
I mean, he's not going to sit here and say, we're going to run the quarterback 20 times.
No,
Let's just tell Vandy how many times we're going to run him. But, it certainly sounds like they've had that conversation, and that's
I would agree.
I think that's a positive sign. If Sellers wants to incorporate more definite runs in his head, then by all means, call some plays that'll give him some power runs as a quarterback. By the way, saw a tweet from Travian Robertson, the South Carolina defensive line coach, today, that he had a couple of special visitors at his home as he recovers from those injuries. Steve and Jerry Spurrier. Steve and Jerry Spurrier.
Very nice.
And I tell you, the pictures of the two Spurriers in that picture, they look terrific. Be right back.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing and boat titling system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Okay, it's time for the recruiting report tonight, right here on Sports Talk. And, of course, it is brought to you by Seawells. And tomorrow's a big, bad Thursday for the daily luncheon buffet at Seawells. Let's find out what is on the menu from the plumber, who when he goes to, a lot of people when they go to bed at nights, Bergie, A lot of people like read their Bible, or they read their phone, or and they read the news of the day. Not the plumber. He reads the daily luncheon buffet menu before he goes to bed at night.
Instead of studying
for that calculus exam,
I am meticulously reading this and taking notes.
I don't blame you.
Yes,
all right,
I can tell you what was this day last year.
What do we have?
Chicken tenders, sliced beef brisket, fried pork chops, and teriyaki glazed salmon.
And how about Friday?
Man, Friday's a big day. Southern fried chicken, carved roast beef. It's a roast beef Friday. Polish kielbasa with onions and peppers, and baked flounder fillets.
That sounds like a winning formula for me. So we suggest that you get over and enjoy the best buffet in the state of South Carolina. That would be at Seawell's on Rosewood Drive across from the State Fairgrounds. And for your special event that needs the very best in catering, just think about Seawell's. You can reach them online at SeawellsCateringSC.com and check out that menu, or give them a call at 803-771-7385. Okay. Linebacker Jalathan Mayfield in the 27 class from
Lincoln, North Carolina.
Do they have great athletes in Lincoln, North Carolina?
Always have great athletes coming out of Lincoln County, especially the heart of Lincoln County.
But wouldn't you say that Lincoln, North Carolina, Lincoln County, it's really East Rutherfordton Rutherfordton, which is the stud athletic school, right? Isn't it Rutherfordton or East Rutherfordton? Right?
You know, I don't remember us playing either one of the Rutherfordton schools when I was in high school.
Okay. Well, here comes Jalathan Mayfield breaking all your records, 6'1", 215. Yes. Linebacker. He was at Clemson for the LSU game. He was at South Carolina for South Carolina State. That was not his first visit to South Carolina for a game, so he was already aware of the pregame pageantry and everything. But he said it was still electric, a great crowd. He had a chance to talk to Shane Beamer, and Beamer expressed to him in their conversations that they really want him at South Carolina. He is a priority, so he feels good about that. He also visited with Clayton White, and he feels like right now the Gamecocks are in a good spot with him. He's not ready to identify clear favorites yet, but I feel like South Carolina, based on what he says, is going to be right in there with him. He also still hears from Clemson, though Clemson is not yet offered. He'll be at LSU this weekend for the Florida game. Plans to be in Athens September 27th for the Alabama game. At this point, not planning a return to USC or Clemson for another game this season. However, he'll visit both again at some point in 2026. Other offers include Michigan, Alabama, SMU, Ohio State, North Carolina, Maryland, NC State, Georgia, Florida, Penn State, Texas A&M, Georgia Tech, Missouri, Auburn, and Virginia Tech. Did I overwhelm you?
He may turn out to be the most highly recruited athlete to ever come out of Lincoln High.
Probably so. He's like your Raymond Felton.
Yeah, exactly.
Small school kind of stud-like player.
My dad told me. My dad's on the board of trustees at a bank. It's still in Lincoln, and every time he goes up there, he talks about with the guys who live there about Mayfield, and they said if Lincoln makes 80 tackles in a game, Mayfield made 75 of them.
Sounds like
that's how talented he is.
All right, other recruiting, 7-foot center Jones Lay of Hickory, North Carolina, who was scheduled for an official to South Carolina this weekend, announced a commitment to Florida on Tuesday. 6'8", Jalen Wingfield of Thomasville, Georgia, who had South Carolina among his favorites, committed to Georgia Tech. 27 defensive end Rashad Streets of Raleigh was offered by Clemson. He was in for the LSU game. South Carolina is also among his offers. 27 offensive tackle Ty Johnson of Lucy Beckham plans to be at USC Saturday, as does 27 receiver Jaden Kelly Murray of Somerville, 27 receiver Jerron Johnson of Charlottesville. Catawba Ridge 27 cornerback Josh Dobson will be at Notre Dame Saturday. That's a wrap on recruiting. Be right back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Conservative activist and Salem talk show host Charlie Kirk has been shot and killed while at an event at Utah Valley University.
31-year-old Kirk was shot while speaking at a debate hosted by his nonprofit political organization, Turning Point USA. Kirk became one of the nation's most recognizable conservatives and a central part of President Donald Trump's operation. Kirk spoke at the Republican National Convention in August 2020.
This election is a decision between preserving America as we know it and eliminating everything that we love. To hold down the good, decent middle-class patriots striving to build a family and pursue a decent life.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
The person suspected of fatally shooting Kirk is now in custody, according to a social media post from FBI Director Kash Patel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Charlie Kirk was murdered for speaking truth, a cry of grief that highlighted how close the alliance between the Israeli and American conservatives has become. Netanyahu was one of an array of Jewish and Israeli leaders who expressed their horror at the assassination. The Orthodox Union called the killing a horrific act of political violence, and the Jewish Federations of North America likewise said it was horrified. Kirk became an avid campaigner for President Trump early on in Mr. Trump's 2016 campaign and continued campaigning for his re-election in 2024. In remarks at a campaign rally in November 2024, Kirk said Republicans had to seize the advantage.
It is all there for the taking. The Democrats are freaking out that they did not hit their early voting numbers, and we are going to show up in the polls in record numbers.
Once again, conservative activist and Salem talk show host Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. More at townhall.com.
Attention investors with a 401k, IRA, or retirement account. The dollar has lost over 25% of its value in the past 5 years, and it's only going to get worse. Are you prepared for what's about to happen next? We are Advantage Gold, the #1 customer-rated gold IRA company in America, and we are helping Americans prepare for the great de-dollarization by diversifying their portfolios with physical precious metals. We've partnered with former chief economist of the IMF, Kenneth Rogoff, to give away his latest book called Our Dollar, Your Problem, a must-read for investors. Call 800-741-GOLD, and we'll rush a free copy of Our Dollar, Your Problem to your doorstep, and include our special gold IRA investing kit, valued at $49. The dollar is losing value fast. Call 800-741-GOLD now to get your free copy of Our Dollar, Your Problem, and our free gold IRA investing kit. Supplies are limited. Consult your tax and financial professional before investing. Call 800-741-4653. That's 800-741-GOLD.
Amazon's driverless robo-taxis are now navigating the streets of Las Vegas on a routine basis.
The Zoox service is offering free rides through parts of the entertainment mecca for those comfortable with the idea of a driverless vehicle. The Vegas debut of Zoox's long-planned ride-hailing service reflects the Amazon-owned robo-taxi maker's confidence in the safety of its boxy vehicles after 2 years of testing them. The unmanned vehicles will pick up and drop off passengers at 5 designated locations, and the rides will be free for a few months. Rich Thomason, Washington.
Apple rolled out its next generation of iPhones that includes a new ultra-thin model and a slight price hike for one of its high-end models. The iPhone 17 lineup includes a new slimmed-down model that will adopt the Air name. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfortable this evening with a low temperature dropping to 59. Tomorrow and really the rest of the week, very, very nice. But we'll have mostly sunshine-filled skies all day to go with a high temperature of 86. We're in the mid-80s as our high temperatures for the rest of this week. We'll hit the warmer next week. There's no rain coming anytime soon to the Midlands. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network here on a Wednesday night. And, of course, Wednesday night football season. This time of the program means another edition of Chalk Talk tonight. And tonight we welcome in a special guest. We call him in off the bench, though this guy never touched the bench. When he was an athlete at Northwestern High School, the only bench he knew was Johnny Bench. He didn't know a wooden bench with splinters. He never got splinters. He didn't know the heat coming off an aluminum bench like the rest of us. No, sir, this guy never came off the field, never came off the track, never came off the court. He is the one, the only, the great number 1 draft pick, number 25 on your roster, Dr. Rick Sanford.
How are you, Phil?
Dr. Rick, you ever have an introduction like that before?
No. Can you record that and please send that to me? I want to put it in the Hall of Shame.
And of course, joined once again tonight by the veteran coach, the professor of defense, a man who also knew no bench time at good old wonderful Winsboro High School, nor at the Citadel. Wonder how many tours he had to walk back in the day. Coach Ellis Johnson, welcome in, sir.
Good to be here, Phil.
How'd you do on those tours? Did they have tours back in your day?
Oh, yeah. I didn't walk any at the Citadel, but that one year I was at West Point, I picked up a few. I remember one time I was walking tours on the quad, that's the area between the barracks where you had to march back and forth with the rifle. And Army was number 1 in the nation in lacrosse that year, and they were playing up in the football stadium against Johns Hopkins or somebody. And I wanted to go so bad, and I could hear all the cheering, but I couldn't quite get there.
That's funny. You really wanted to be in the Army if you went to the Citadel and then you went to West Point. That was something you wanted to do.
No, I mean, that's why I went back to the Citadel, because I didn't.
You reverse course on us. Okay. I got you. All right, Dr. Rick, welcome in. You know the drill here when we have the Chalk Talk and you're filling in for Coach Reedy. So let's start with you. The Gamecocks, they're 2-0. What do you think after 2 games as they prepare to open up SEC play? What's your overview?
Well, I'm concerned. I'll put it that much, Phil. I think that what they've got to clean up that offense a little bit. I was expecting a lot more than what I've seen out of the Gamecocks on offense. Now, surprisingly, the defense has been pretty good, I think, overall. But the offense, it's just not firing on all cylinders right now for the talent that they have over there. And so I feel like they've got to do something, make some changes, not necessarily personnel, but I mean, and Ellis might be able to help me on this. I think they need to do something about trying to move Sellers around a little more. He's just not a drop-back passer. I just think he needs to be more on the perimeter, and that puts more pressure on your defense when you get him out on the perimeter.
Ellis, what do you think about that?
No question. I think everything Rick said is right on. Now, I have to preface this. I did not get to see any of that ball game, South Carolina State game.
Yeah.
But I saw the Virginia Tech game. We know now Virginia Tech's not a quality team because Vandy wore their butts out. So we don't know everything yet, guys. They ain't played anybody. But I didn't see the game, but I've listened to radio coming a while ago, and a Carolina fan called into some fine bomb with one of them. He's talking about how bad the offensive line was. Well, my concern is I think they got 2 animals fighting right now. They're trying to help Lenoir go to the NFL, but then they're not doing the things that he can do well to win football games. And I agree with Rick 100%. He's not a good pocket quarterback right now. And whether he can be in a year or 2, I don't know. But right now, if I'm at Carolina, your best chance to win ball games is to get him in the athletic plays, whether run options or scrambling or moving the pocket on passes. You got to do something to help the kid. I think there's a pretty good bit of stuff around him that he can use, better than last year. Defensively, 100%. The defense has been a surprise. Again, they hadn't played anybody. But I like the team speed. I think they're just as fast on defense as they were last year. But to win next week, the defense is going to have to affect Pavia. And the offense has got to get better. And then the special teams just got to keep making those dynamic plays that flip the ball game.
Rick, if they were to do that, if they were to have Sellers more mobile, running left and right, throw play action off of that, or giving him the option to throw or run, things like that, how much of a help would that be for the offensive line? How much does that kind of offense take some of the pressure maybe off the offensive line?
Well, I think it would be an immense pressure off the offensive line. I do think you still, even with your offensive blocking, Phil, you've got to roll those guys a little bit to help him, even when he gets on the perimeter, to try to wall guys from getting to him from the backside there. But I do think it would be a very wise move at this point to try to take advantage of his athletic ability. I think Ellis is spot on. I think that right now, when you keep him in the pocket, you're trying to show the pro scouts, well, this guy is he can throw out of the pocket, which, and when he gets better blocking, I'm not doubting that he can throw out of the pocket. But I just don't think right now, with the offensive line, with what they have, that they can win football games without him being a dual threat. And I think you're removing his dual threat when you hold him in the pocket.
Ellis, do you think the coaches over there realize that? Do you think Mike Shula, Shane Beamer kind of have a clue about that?
I have no idea what their thinking is right now, but they know just as much as we know, or more. Mike Shula has been a lot of places coaching quarterbacks. I say again, it looks like there's two animals pulling on each other. I don't mean two different individuals fighting or anything. I mean they want to do two things. They want to win football games, and they want to help the Norris get drafted. Everybody keeps talking about he's one of the top 5 picks in America. Right now, he can't play pro football. And if I'm at Carolina, I don't care. I want him to do the things that he does great to give that team a chance to win.
I agree with you, and I was skeptical in the offseason, in the summer, with all this talk. I mean, I know he's a very fine talent, but Rick, you played pro football. You know what it takes. You know what it takes to be a pro football quarterback. And I think Lenore Sellers is a long way from that. I don't understand where all these people were pegging him to be the first or second pick in the draft and the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. And I think Ellis is exactly right. I think South Carolina, and I think Ellis has made a point that I don't think anybody else has made. So a touchdown for you, Coach.
Well, I stole it from Rick Neuheisel on TV.
Oh, well, don't say that. Take credit, man. Nobody.
Seriously, I really do believe that. I mean, I just think that they're frustrated right now because, I mean, he'd be a big deal for recruiting in the future if you get a top 5 pick or something like that. But I just don't see it. And I mean, we haven't seen a lot this year, and they played 2 bad football teams. But he hasn't had a really good football game yet. And, I mean, he played a one AA team the other night and had a quarterback rating of 20.
Had a great drive. Had a great drive against Virginia Tech to open that game. Had a beautiful throw to Harbor, 64 yards. Outside of that,
that throw to Harbor was a play action pass out of a 4-back set.
Yeah,
it wasn't a drop back pocket. I mean, it's just not there. He doesn't see things, guys. He doesn't see the field when he's in the pocket.
Well, and Ellis, I'll add, I think that I think he's immensely talented. I don't think there's any doubt that this kid has great ability, and I think Ellis is right, and I know where he's going with this conversation, but I still think that he's a real threat when you put him on the corners. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that this guy can win football games, but I don't think just sitting him in that pocket is going to win Carolina a lot of football games because he just does not have the protection right now that can protect him. And, if you look at them, this week, I think we're going to find out a lot more against Vanderbilt. I really do, because I'm telling you guys right now, this is not old Vanderbilt. This is a good football team coming in here.
Mm-hmm.
And Pavia is a darn good quarterback. I think he has the highest rating of any quarterback right now in the SEC, which, that's pretty darn good. But Pavia is a lot like Lenoris Sellers. As long as you keep him in the pocket, he's not as much of a threat as he is when he gets outside of the pocket. So, we'll find out a lot more against Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt is no pushover. You saw what they did going to Virginia Tech, and they wore Virginia Tech out on their home field. And I watched that game, and I thought to myself, I said, anybody that thought this team's a pushover, they better gather themselves because they're not.
All right, let's turn our attention to.
100%.
Let's turn our
real quick, Phil. The thing about we mentioned the defense.
Yeah,
and I really think this week they're going to be critical again because what they do so well, what Vanderbilt's doing so well with Pavia, they have long, continual drives, and they get possession, and that's how they're winning. And they use him the way they should. But I think the defense is going to be critical, and of course the special teams, what they've done for 2 weeks, they're absolutely critical.
Yeah. It's a chalk with Ellis Johnson and Rick Sanford tonight. Let's go to Clemson, Ellis, and that was an exhale win for them against Troy. So the Tigers, they have not lived up to their billing through 2 games, and their quarterback, who's projected as a top draft pick and a Heisman, all this and all that, he's in the same boat with Sellers. Both of them in their respective leagues are 15th in quarterback ranking after 2 weeks. So what are you seeing with Klubnik? What advice do you have there?
Find him a running game and quit abandoning it and run the damn football more often and get some balance. It ain't he may not be playing well, but the fact is, I think the problem's not him. Last year, they couldn't run football on Texas in the playoffs. And Klubnik was a magician. He brought them back down for 2 or 3 scores, just throwing the ball only. They couldn't run the football on anybody. So that's the first thing. And I did see them a little bit toward the end of that game against Troy. They started committing to it a little bit, and they run a little bit more power schemes and counters and pulling linemen and getting drive blocks instead of all this zone, pass pro, zone, pass pro. You got to give offensive linemen a chance to be aggressive sometimes. But Troy is not a bad football team. They've got a history in their program, and they got athletes. They came into Columbia when I was there with Steve. Hell, we couldn't stop them. They didn't score but once on us, but we couldn't slow them down.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some players, so it didn't surprise me to struggle with them a little bit, but it does bother you that the same issues are still there. But I did see them commit a little bit more to the run, and they need to give those offensive linemen a chance, to establish the thing and let them be physical. And they're going to have to improve in that area, or the pressure on Klubnik's just going to build because they become the one-dimensional.
Defensively for Clemson, Rick, from what you've been able to watch on television or read about, what do you think about their play so far? They haven't given up a lot of touchdowns, only one defensive touchdown allowed to Troy, and I think LSU had a couple. But what do you think of the play of their defense thus far? You think they are up to par, up to the same class as previous Clemson defenses?
Well, I think they're good, Phil, defensively, but you got to remember, Clemson has 3 or 4 guys that are projected in the top 20 players to be picked in the first round of the draft. So, they should be good on defense. And so you look at that, and then you turn around and look at their offense, which looks lethargic right now, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I expected Clemson to be a lot better at this point, okay? I thought they would be a lot better, but the reason they're not a lot better is because of the guy behind the center. Honestly, Klubnik has not played well. He is just not doing the things that he needs to do. I've never thought that Klubnik was the most elite passer or most elite quarterback in the country. But one thing I will say, all he really needs to do is manage the game, because he's got players around him that can help him make plays. I agree with Ellis. They need to run the football more. They just don't run the football consistently, because I think they read the press clippings of Cade Klubnik and think, we're going to give it to Cade and he's going to win us the game. Well, that just doesn't work all the time. So I expect them to have a battle in Atlanta this Saturday. I really do. I don't think this is going to be any pushover for Clemson at Georgia Tech either. I just think that defensively, I think they're going to be fine. Offensively is a big question mark to me, because I think we're going to learn a whole lot more about Cade Klubnik again this weekend at Georgia Tech.
Do you think, Ellis, that the pressure is also on Garrett Riley? Because, I mean, as been well noted, they've struggled against better SEC teams here of late, including the LSU game to open this season. Offensively, they struggled against Troy. The Boo Birds were coming out after that pick six. They were really on Klubnik coming off the field. Yes, he turned it around and played better in the second half. But, I mean, this offense has not been overall what was envisioned when they paid Garrett Riley $2 million a season to come over here and make this offense a high-flying, high-scoring unit.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's pressure, but, I'm sure they're frustrated. And now they're probably more surprised than we are that they're not playing at a higher level. And I think it just goes back to the same things. Now, is the running game, is it because they can't, or is it because they're impatient and they don't give it a shot and they don't stay with it? A lot of times running games don't look good in the first quarter, but you keep running them, and at the end of the game you got 150 yards rushing. So I think you have to be a little more patient with that. It just doesn't look sexy, when you're trying to run the football, control the clock, keep some possessions and so forth. You can't every other play, throw a 30-yard strike. And so I just think that, to me, that's the question. Are they committed to running it when they really need to run it? And, of course, that takes practice time, too. But they better get going, because I think Clemson's defense has got a really tough challenge on their hands with Haynes King. I mean, that kid's a winner. He's tough. Watching that game against Georgia last year, that dude is a tough dude. He's a leader, and I mean, they're not going to lose. You're going to have to go down there and beat them.
So, Rick, Adam Randall had 112 yards against Troy, his best game as a running back at Clemson in his short stint there. Do you think he's a high level? Can he be a high level running back? Number one, and number two, knowing the history of Clemson football as you do, are you a little bit surprised that they found themselves in a position where they had to move a receiver over to be their best running back?
Well, it's a little strange, Phil. I mean, it seems to me that Clemson gets high level recruits and are able to sign really, really good football players. Okay. But if you got a really, really good football player as a wide receiver, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to discount his ability to be a running back. I mean, we've seen how South Carolina used Deebo Samuel and how the 49ers used Deebo Samuel. And I think that's what Clemson's trying to do a little bit with him. But, when you try to do that with a wide receiver, that kind of tells me that you don't have a real running back that you have a whole lot of confidence in right now. Now, I know they have a freshman over there that was one of the best running backs coming out of high school. And I don't know. Playing running back, and Ellis, you might be able to say something to this, playing running back ain't that hard, okay? I mean, you don't have to learn a whole lot. They hand you the ball and you run, okay? The only thing about being a running back is in pass protection. You have to be able to protect the quarterback on a blitz or something along those lines. But if you got one of the better high school running backs, I mean, I don't understand why it's so difficult to try to put him in there and run the football. I just don't understand that. And I'm not there every day either. I'll say that. I don't see them practice. I don't know all this stuff. I don't sometimes these guys out of high school are just way overrated. But when you got a 5-star running back there, I think you ought to try to give him the football a little more.
Ellis, your thoughts on that?
Well, the young ones have a little bit of talent. Adam has beat them out. I guess just age and experience. He's consistently, had the better performances and so forth, and he's beat them out. I thought, again, I go back to last weekend, and they were playing Troy, which is not an SEC or top-level ACC football team, but they started trying to run the football with Randall, and he ends up with over 100 yards. And he fumbled one up in the box, too, and that comes from the lack of reps. And you got to have to, give him the ball. He's got to run it up in there. Practice, too. You got to have some physicality in practice. He will get better. He's a big, strong kid at about 225. May have even gained a little weight since they moved him. But he will be an adequate running back. But when he runs up inside, he doesn't have that natural running back posture, that lean. And so the ball gets exposed sometimes. But again, we're just, giving him patience and giving him the ball. They came up with over 100 yards rushing. It might have saved their rear end.
All right. Ellis, any thoughts on any other developments around college football the last week since we last talked to you? Anything from over the weekend that otherwise surprised you?
North field. Bringing it out of the left field now, that's a big question.
It's what we do.
I don't know. I think one thing you can see, just an overall trend, you can start to tell what all this transferring is doing to football teams. The schools that used to could recruit on top of recruit on top of recruit and stack depth, that's not there anymore. And I believe it's bringing them back to the pack. But the schools that are loaded with money are beginning to separate. And I think it's bad for college football. And I'll tell you now, if it continues, Carolina and North Clemson are both one of those schools that can compete with that kind of money. I mean, it's not going to help college football if they don't get a handle on this stuff.
I just saw, Rick, where some supporter of the University of Illinois just donated $100 million to their school to put his name on their football stadium. And then last week, a supporter of the University of Kansas, I think it was, gave him $300 million. So I'm just, wondering, Rick, like when you're going to write the check to the Gamecocks?
Well, I'm gonna consult with Ellis, and we're gonna have a long conversation, and then Ellis will be donating, and so will I.
Yeah. Well,
they're making those $100 million and $300 million contributions, and those boys down in Texas are giggling.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. I agree, Ellis. I agree with what Ellis is saying too. I think that college football, they got to get a handle on this. I don't even look at it like college football anymore. I just like it. I just love to watch football, period. But it's not college football anymore.
Guys, great job. Rick, thank you so much. You'll be back with us next week. Ellis, thank you as always. Terrific. Y'all have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Enjoyed it. Good to be with you, Rick.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Ellis Johnson, Rick Sanford. By the way, Bergie, did you know that Georgia Tech is having a whiteout on Saturday against Clemson?
Oh, very nice.
They're having a whiteout, so that's kind of like the Penn State whiteout, maybe not as famous, not as powerful. They're also having a hip-hop concert prior to the game. Very popular hip-hop artist will be performing.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep,
I've got early for a concert, isn't it? I mean, what time would that start? At like 9 a.m.?
Probably. I've got all his albums. I've got all his. Well, I guess they're not albums. What do they call them now? I guess I've got all his digital downloads. I got all his downloads. So looking forward to seeing him in person. Any thoughts on what they had to say?
I'm just so funny. It's so funny that Ellis called you out because that's what you normally do to me at the end of the show. Hey, got any final thoughts about what we've been chatting about?
Well, I wanted to give him a wide open question there that he could deal with.
He could knock out of the park. He actually came up with a really, really good breakdown of the current state of college athletics. I was impressed. No, I thought their analysis was spot on, and they both being defensive-oriented guys. I thought had really good thoughts about what the Gamecocks are not doing offensively. And Lenore Sellers, the comments that Coach had about Lenore, I thought were fascinating.
Very much so. He hit on something that I hadn't really thought about previously either. Okay, we'll be back. Bottom of the hour break.
On Point Weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfortable this evening with a low temperature dropping to 59. Tomorrow and really the rest of the week, very, very nice. But we'll have mostly sunshine-filled skies all day to go with a high temperature of 86. We'll be in the mid-80s as our high temperatures for the rest of this week. We'll a bit warmer next week. There's no rain coming anytime soon to the Midlands. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452.
Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
When he was with Extra News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Charlie Kirk, the CEO and co-founder of the conservative youth organization Turning Point USA, was fatally shot Wednesday at an event at a Utah college. President Trump said Kirk was shot and killed as he was speaking at Utah Valley University. The shooting quickly drew reaction from leading political figures, including some victims of political violence. Videos posted to social media show Kirk speaking into a handheld microphone at the university's Sorensen Center courtyard, sitting under a white tent emblazoned with the slogans "The American Comeback" and "Prove Me Wrong" when he was shot. A person of interest was in custody Wednesday evening. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said, though no charges were immediately announced. This has been an SRN News special report.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com, or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington. Greg Lynette and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues. Just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington.
Hi, it's Mary Catherine
and Thomas from Louisiana Purchase, inviting you to start your day sweet with beignets and coffee from 9 to 11.
Treat yourself to lunch at Louisiana Purchase and find one-of-a-kind gifts you won't see anywhere else.
Stop by Cypress Market for gourmet meats, cheeses, fine wines, and ready-to-go items.
Give your weddings, graduations, holidays, and office parties Southern flair with our catering and custom charcuterie.
Visit Louisiana Purchase, your taste of the South, all in one stop.
LouisianaPurchase.com.
Discover the seamless blend of comfort and style with Lexington Discount Homes. With over 30 years of excellence in the housing industry, our focus is on delivering your dream home with unparalleled customer service. Explore a variety of designs tailored to meet any preference and budget. Drop by our showroom at 1847 Augusta Highway to witness the craftsmanship of a Lexington home firsthand, or explore online through a comprehensive virtual tour at LexingtonDiscountHomes.com. Choose comfort, choose style, choose Lexington Discount Homes.
Do you crave growth for your business? That's where The Point comes in. Fran Halloran here. Kevin Cohen and the other local hosts like me have worked to create a space where listeners transform into family. Are you a local business aiming for the stars? You need to get with Kevin and let him help create an individualized blueprint for your growth using the influential stage of the Point Radio. Reach out directly at 563-8558. Teaming with the Point, make this year extraordinary.
Let it rain. Let me talk to you. Come on. So they had them nickel bottom jeans boots with the fur. The whole club was looking at her. She hit the floor. Next thing you know, shawty got low. Them baggy sweatpants and the Reeboks with the stripes.
All right, we're back. I was just getting to the groove there. So, you Clemson fans headed to the game on Saturday in Atlanta. It's going to be a white out by Georgia Tech, and also they're going to have a concert there by Florida.
Florida. We need our own personal AI name. How do you
Flow Right. I did not realize that was his song. That's a popular song, is it not?
Yeah, I'm glad we got it.
I don't know that it still is.
I'm glad we got out of that bumper quick because the next few words were.
Well, we're not going to put anything disgusting out there. So, Flow Rida, this is Georgia Tech's HBP concert series. So it doesn't say. I mean, you're not going to do it after the game because if they lose, everybody's leaving. You got to do it before the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the stadium. It'll be somewhere outside the stadium, I would think. I don't see any. I'm looking for some information on this. I don't see any information on it. But anyway, that's going to be happening. Hyundai Field, Bobby Dodge Stadium at Hyundai Field. That's the name of the field there at Georgia Tech. They're not calling it South Carolina. They're not calling it like Williams-Brice Stadium, and they're not calling it Blanchard Field, are they? They're not.
No.
Yeah.
They're just they just get their logo on the field.
So I guess Hyundai not only has its logo on the field, they bought some naming rights.
That would be my guess. Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Here's Dabo Sweeney just a few minutes ago coming off the practice field. You want to lead us into it?
I don't really have much to say. Dabo took a page out of Brent Key's book. He met with the media for about 4 minutes, which may set a record for the shortest amount of time Dabo's ever visited with the media. But here's what he had to say looking ahead to Saturday.
Hey, Dabo, it's Chapel. I know your injury report will come out tomorrow, but how do you feel about the general health of the team through tonight's practice?
I mean, pretty good. We got what we got, and, we'll see where everybody is tomorrow, and we can take 80, so we'll load up 80 and head to Atlanta with the best we got.
And you mentioned yesterday talking about you wanted to get in more of a flow in offense, get some of the backup running backs worked in. What have you seen from that group behind Adam, and what's kind of the key to getting them worked in? Is it just more plays, or where do you see that?
Yeah, more rhythm, more plays, just more, in sync, less 3 and outs, so they'll get their opportunity. Like I said, it's going to start with Adam, and then we'll go from there. But definitely just rhythm and play count. But they've done great. I mean, they're 2 young backs that are getting better, and then they've had some mistakes both when they've gotten in there. Easy had a drop the other day, but I thought Gid with his couple of plays did a nice job last week. But their opportunity will come.
Hey, Dabo, this is Darian Carter. Jacksonville spoke to the media today about Coach Ryan Allen's impact on him and during the punting competition. How you kind of see Coach Allen kind of coach the guys through the competition, through the preseason?
I mean, he's great. I mean, he's done it. I mean, he's a 3-time Super Bowl champ. He's understands, competition. He certainly understands the technical aspects of kicking, punting, snapping, holding, all that stuff. He's been a great addition to our staff. Hired him last year, so he's done a great job for us.
Hey, Dabo, this is Grayson. But Devontae Capehart and Cade Klubnik told us earlier today about Peter Wood's halftime speech in the locker room against Troy. Just curious about what you saw from that and what it says about just this team's player-led leadership.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, that was a positive coming from a kind of a funky game, if you will, especially offensively. could create a lot of frustration. 2 games in a row where you don't play good on O, and defensively you got points on the board and you've only given up one true touchdown. So it can get a little frustrating. So I was proud of them. I was proud of how they hung together and, kept encouraging each other. And, we always say adversity, people say it builds character, but it really reveals character. And I think you saw the character of our team and how they fought back and hung in there and found a way to win.
Debo, you've mentioned that the field goal protection unit has been improved this year. What have you seen through these first 2 games, and how has that gotten better?
Just personnel, and Coach Luke's done a great job with that team, and our personnel's taken a lot of pride in it.
Hey, Dabo, I just have a follow-up regarding Wesco on punt return. What did you kind of see for him during the preseason for him to take over those duties with Antonio missing time?
Yeah, we worked him last year a good bit, and he's just, we just trust him. He's a guy that fields the ball, very naturally. He's a good decision maker, and obviously he can run with it. We've got TJ is another guy we trust. Cole is a guy we trust. So Tink's a guy that we could put back there. So we've got a good group of guys, good core of guys that have earned our trust. But Wesco's next man up.
All right, there you go. Short and sweet from Dabo Swinney. I wonder if it, when he gives a short answer like he did, I guess, a couple of times there, I wonder if he sprains his tongue trying to pull it back in. Like, hold on, I'm done here. Let's pulling the tongue back in. Georgia Tech, offensive line wise, pretty big. 310, 305. 300, 330, 335 at the right tackle. They got some good size at tight end. They're tight ends who do a lot of blocking, 265, as big as 265. And Jamal Haynes is a good running back.
Yes, he is.
Got to keep an eye on him.
They've got a good running back and quarterback, too. Yeah, so that's going to be a challenge for Clemson.
That combination is really, really tough.
And I misread when we were talking about the injury reports. You heard Chappell ask Dabo about the first one coming out tomorrow. That's actually correct. According to the ACC, they'll have reports come out at least 48 hours before all their games, and then they get an update. That's the part I saw, an update the day before the game and then 2 hours before kickoff.
So they start on Thursday, and the SEC comes out tonight, first one of the week.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Hank in Columbia. Next phone call here on Sports Talk. Hank, welcome in. Good to have you with us tonight.
Hey, Corey, how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Corey, I think we'll learn a lot more, as you said, this weekend. It could even further, because I remember last year against Ole Miss, when that was like 3 or 4 games in, and it didn't seem like we were together offensively, and then they got it together after this. As far as Sellers, I think after the Virginia Tech game, they were talking about him on Sunday on one of those NFL shows, and they still see him. They didn't like the fact that we weren't using him the way we used him last year. Their feeling was they were still high on him, kind of still high on Klubnik, but they wanted him to be used more in the manner that Ellis said that he should be used, or as Rick said he should be used, because over half of the league now has kind of those type of quarterbacks. They move around, they use their feet and their legs, like you talked about the Chicago guy to use the leg. He's a better passer than Norris, but a lot of the quarterbacks now move a good bit, and they felt like that. Schuler, they just said the OC, they didn't call Schuler's name, was kind of trying to rein him in too much and make him into a pocket quarterback, when half the league is kind of not that now.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you got to be careful. I think Ellis hit on something there that I hadn't really thought about, trying to make a guy into a pro prospect as a drop back when that's not his natural game. Not only hurts him, but also hurts your offense if your offense is geared for something else, if it takes away from what he does best. And you're right. I mean, how many successful NFL teams right now are living with drop-back quarterbacks, pure drop-back quarterbacks? The Steelers, all right, because Rodgers is so old, he can't really run around that much. Though he did throw 4 touchdown passes. Looks like the Colts have found a quarterback. Jones is a drop-back guy. Not saying the Colts are going to be spectacular or anything. But, I mean, most of your teams have quarterbacks who can run around, roll out, and throw on the run, right? And why wouldn't Sellers want to be doing the same thing in college?
Yeah, that's Phil. You hit on. I mean, you look at Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. You just go. I mean, you can go down the line now with half the NFL, or more than half, don't have drop back quarterback. So I just think they got to get it together and kind of just let him play.
Yeah,
and he'll show himself to be the prospect that he is. And if they do that, if you remember with Lions when they did that, with the way the defense plays, it can be plenty enough.
You know,
see what happens.
I kind of relate it, and thank you, Hank. We appreciate it. I kind of relate it to a golf swing, Bergie. I mean, the best golf swing, the best golfers, they find their swing, and it's just natural to them. They don't have to think about it. They line up, they get their alignment right, they look down the fairway, they just swing the club off of muscle memory, and off they go. And so they don't think. They're thinking about the wind, and they're thinking about, am I going to move this left? Am I going to move it right? That sort of thing. But they're not thinking about the mechanics of their swing. They just are naturally walking up there, swinging the club, hitting the golf ball. Same thing about playing quarterback. If you're thinking about all the mechanics, well, are my feet right? Am I holding the ball long enough to let the pocket form? Am I staying in the pocket long enough? That kind of stuff. When you're not naturally that kind of a quarterback, when you're more of a roll out, throw it on the run type guy, I could see where that would mess with your head some.
That's a great analogy because I can think of two guys right off the bat that have been PGA Tour stalwarts throughout their career. Jim Furyk, first off. If you ever watched Jim swing a golf club, no way you teach that.
Yeah.
But what he was able to do is get it right back square at the time to hit the ball. It worked for him. Scotty Scheffler is another one. You would never teach the way he slides with his feet. I mean, most people would fall down, but that works for him. And I think that's a great analogy. They've got to find what works for Lenoris is getting him out of the pocket and allowing him to create on the run. And I think they need to go back to that. I agree.
Well, if I know that, you know that, Rick knows that, Ellis knows that, Hank knows that, why don't they know that?
Would know that, yeah.
Maybe they're listening and they'll figure it out. I mean, I got to believe that they're going to get back to what works well for him. But I will say, he's not the same quarterback yet that he was in the Clemson game. I use the Clemson game as the standard for him.
I would agree. Yeah, that was probably the best individual game he has played.
And Mike Shula took over, the next week, the next game. I'm not blaming Mike Shula here just yet. I mean, he's certainly a very smart guy and knows how to coach quarterbacks, knows how to run an offense, but you can't stifle the guy that you got, and you got to let him do what he can do. Be right back.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love, and you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
Life insurance isn't for you. It's for those you love the most. For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
She says we gotta hold on to what we've got. It doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other, and that's a lot for love. We'll give it a shot. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, give me one prayer.
All right, Coastal Carolina's got to give their fans, Bergie, something more than just free concessions. I mean, that's nice, but they got to give them a good performance, a good offense, and some points on the board. They're going to need that against East Carolina.
You don't think 27,000 hot dogs is good enough to keep fans coming back? Evidently, that's how many they ate on Saturday. But yeah, and Tim Beck knows this. The head coach of the Chanticleers got to get the offense upgraded and moving because it has struggled the first two ball games. He held his weekly press conference earlier today, and you'll be able to tell he is definitely trying to coach them up this week. But of course, the first question that he's asked is the logical one after your starting quarterback struggled. Here's question number one.
Coach, you go with Tad this week?
Yeah, I think he's done some good things. So we've been repping really all three of them. We've repped Tad, we've repped MJ. As I talk earlier all the time, not one player is necessarily at fault, right, when it comes to things. And there's a variety of things. But Tad did provide a spark. So the plan is to have both those guys ready to go. And Samari's obviously getting ready because we never know where that may lead us as well.
You discussed during the post game about that spark
and
that the players were fired up to have Tad out there. With that being said, how do you not throw him out there the first reps with the team clearly having his back and showing results, which obviously this is a result-driven business? Correct.
And that's all part of that process that we go through, right, is to make sure that putting a guy in at the end of the game and putting a guy in at the beginning of the game sometimes is a little bit different, making sure Tad's ready and he's ready to do what we need him to do.
Without getting too much into the specifics, what have the conversations with Drew been like about what needs to happen in order for you guys to get a better product on offense in the next week?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked. I believe in Drew and I believe in what we're doing. I actually thought we were smart in the game when we had to go to Tad. We were smart with what he could handle, what he prepped at practice, what he was able to do and not do. And so that certainly helped. But we have talked about, I think the number one thing is we're turning the ball over too much. We had at least 2 in the red zone. The game before, we lost points on an errant snap, self-inflicting wounds. And when you play good football teams, you're going to lose. And it could get ugly. When you play teams you're, quote, supposed to beat, they're closer. And we can't do that. I mean, we'll have a really long season if we continue to be -3 every game. Probably be worse in the country. I don't even know where we're at with that. But it starts with the quarterback making good decisions. But again, not all of those things are necessarily on him.
Coach, dovetailing off the play of the defense, first shutout for Coastal in 5 years almost. With so much emphasis in college football on offense, how impressed were you that you were able to pitch a shutout against anybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard, right? Because, I mean, It just is. I mean, through the course of a game, there's things we talk about all the time. There's still special teams plays. There's still turnovers, right, where you give a team an advantage to be able to go. But our defense has been stout. I mean, even if you go back into the Virginia game in the second half, we had a couple of turnovers. We gave them some good field position in the fourth quarter and held them. And even early in the game, we held them until that little, middle eight part. But I like the way those guys are playing. I think they're playing really well. They're playing well together as a unit. They understand their job, their role, and they're executing at a high level right now. And so they're going to give us a chance. We have to protect the football offensively, and we have to be able to run it like we've been, but we got to throw it and catch it. At the end of the day, it's the things that right now are hindering us, the ability to be able to loosen people up, get them off us, create some big plays, create some excitement. We know that we have to do that, and we're working on that. And hopefully as we practice and we go through our season, we're finding the right pieces to put in there to make that happen.
East Carolina's one touchdown loss at NC State, big win over Campbell. What are you seeing on film that might concern you, or what do you think they do really well that you guys are going to have?
They're a good football team. They're well coached. They play really hard. They play fast. Offensively, they're going to run the football. They're going to RPO you, right? They're going to get you to try to commit to the run and throw the ball behind you with RPOs, and then just when they think they've lulled you to sleep, they're going to try to throw one over your head. They got really fast wide receivers. Defensively, they're multiple fronts. They move guys around. They're aggressive. They get off blocks and run well. They're good in the secondary. They're long. It's a good football team, and so we're welcoming the challenge. It's going to be a great game Saturday.
All right, Tim Beck. What am I thinking? Chip Beck, number Mr. 59. Tim Beck reminds me of the time I called Denny Crumb. That interview went over real well when I did that.
Sure it did.
Holy cow. That's what happens when you're not focused, when you're not thinking. What you got?
And to answer Coach's question about the turnovers, right now Coastal ranks tied for 130th in FBS football at a -2.5, -5 total in turnover margin. So they only rank 134 teams. So that can't continue, obviously.
No, they got to pick it up.
This. Yep.
To Andy in Columbia, final call tonight. Welcome into Sports Talk. Andrew, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, fellas. Monday night I was saying the exact same thing that Dr. Rick and Ellis said. That was what my premise was that, you got Shula trying to do something with a quarterback that isn't what the quarterback should be doing. Now, my other thing is this. Chris, I find very disgusting that the Coastal people only average 1.25 hot dogs per person at a game when they're being given away for free. I would think that more like 50 to 60,000 hot dogs would have been eaten at that football game when there's free hot dogs. I'll tell you what, Andy would have probably taken 10 down himself if he would have been getting free dogs. I mean, 1.25 dogs. What is up with these people? No wonder they're giving free hot dogs.
Let me ask you this question, the two of you. What if, what's the guy's name who wins July 4th every year, the hot dog eating contest?
Joey Chestnut.
Why don't they invite him to come to the free hot dog? I mean, imagine how many hot dogs he would eat for free during a ball game.
Wonder how much he charges for
that actually is
during
a pretty good
during
idea.
the length of a game, he could probably eat 1,000 hot dogs.
I mean, Berg, you ought to go to your people and say, "Hey guys, I got an idea. Take it as your idea, not mine. I got an idea, even though it came from me. But you don't have to give me credit. Go to them and say, "Hey, I got an idea. How about let's get Joey Chestnut in here to eat some free hot dogs? I bet you he'd do it."
That's a great idea. I mean,
Corn,
it really is.
One quick question.
But you don't have to give me credit,
for
Bergie. Bergie, you take it because you need to kind of, work your way in the good graces over there.
Chris, if it ever works, he'll always take credit, by the way.
There's no doubt.
Hey,
see, that's
Corn, that basketball player.
Yeah.
The basketball player who didn't come in because of visa or whatever.
Yeah.
Did he get into school?
Yes.
Was he?
Yes.
He's
Kreist.
it, right?
Are we talking about Kreist?
I can't remember his name, but I know there was one player that wasn't around because of visa issues.
I think that was the transfer from Providence, Kreist. He's
Sendoko.
Yeah, if that's who I'm thinking of, if that's who we're talking about, yeah, he's been with them practicing the whole deal. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you so much. Good
Thanks,
hearing from
Andy.
you. That'll do
I'll
it.
pass along your complaints to the CCU fans. Need to eat more hot dogs.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Bergie, and thank you,
sir.
Plummer, and thank you to our guest tonight. Thank you for everybody being with us. Have yourselves a great night. See you tomorrow. Big Thursday.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer Sizzle starts